This is breaking news, an early edition of KCAL News at 8 o'clock. We have a police pursuit of a driver wanted for assault with a deadly weapon and armed robbery. I'm Jeff Vaughn.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Susie Sell, along with Mike Rogers at the desk. Let's go upstairs now to Desmond Shaw, live in SkyCal, for an update for us. Desmond.
Jeff and Susie, we just heard here from the airship overhead. They believe there are 3 people in the car believed to be armed and dangerous because of the wants. Again, it is either armed robbery and or assault with a deadly. That according to LAPD. It is LAPD that is in pursuit of this vehicle, this dark, older model GMC Yukon. Again, believed to be 3 in the car. This began in the South LA area, came eastbound on the 10 and then South 5, South 710. And now we're making our way towards Long Beach, getting up to 80 or 90 miles an hour on this one. It has kind of been flying away from us, so we're still trying to catch up here. But you can see, I'll just widen out for a second, quite a few units in tow of this one. And actually, there were 2 law enforcement helicopters as well. It's going to be LAPD as well as LA County Sheriff's deputies. We'll see if they continue to have 2 from the sky, which would definitely make you think that they really want to get these suspects. Again, possibly armed and dangerous. 3 in the car of this GMC Yukon, southbound on the 710 with LAPD. Jeff and Susie.
Okay, yeah, this is breaking news here on KCAL News, and thank you so much for joining us as we get off the top of the hour with this police pursuit. As Des just mentioned, Sheriff's Department, LAPD also in pursuit. Mike Rogers is now at the assignment desk. Can you clear up a little bit as to the want here, Mike?
Yeah, so Jeff and Susie, it was just, Desmond mentioned, either armed robbery or assault with a deadly weapon. Well, we believe it is both, really. So armed robbery was originally what these Newton officers, it was officers from LAPD's Newton Division, got behind the vehicle for. Now, during the course of the pursuit, we've heard the helicopter ask the ground units, do we know which seat the shooter is sitting in? So that leads us to believe, obviously, that the assault with a deadly weapon aspect of it. And then we also heard them give some details about it. And this was actually a shooting I was listening to on the scanners during our 5 o'clock hour. It was over at San Julian and Pico. It came out as a shooting with a possible victim down. So I was actually making some calls on that when we had to go to a different shooting. And they're obviously have picked up this person at some point. So now they're trying to get him to stop. But again, that shooting happened at San Julian and Pico, and they are trying to figure out which seat in the car the shooter is sitting in, or if it's the driver. So as far as the armed robbery portion of it, it's very possible that that car, the license plate on the car, came back to being also wanted in an armed robbery, but we believe the primary reason they are chasing this person was for that shooting that we were listening to at San Julian and Pico earlier.
And that shooting, Mike, was in South LA, and that's where this pursuit started? Correct,
yeah. This started in, one of my coworkers on the desk, Orlando, was actually giving Desmond some clarifying information. Central Division officers were the ones who originally got into this, and then Newton was right on their tail. Central and Newton, if you don't know, border each other. So it's right there where the 10 freeway splits. Newton gets a little bit north of the 10 freeway. So both of those guys were trying to do this at the same time, and actually they asked everybody to switch over to Newton frequency. Now, as Desmond pulls out, they have repeatedly added units to this pursuit. We're almost getting into the Long Beach area now, but I had heard them request at least 6 units to be in the pursuit. It looks like there may be even more than that. The airship also offered to go into tracking mode. The watch commander denied tracking mode. And that is common when you have a suspect wanted for this caliber of alleged crime, armed, things like that. They don't like to go into tracking mode. They're also now, in and out of their city. They also don't like to be in tracking mode when they're not in their city. So right now, not in tracking mode. This is full-blown pursuit by the LAPD, who also has not given it up to CHP.
Oh, he's losing it.
Oh,
he's losing it.
Take it, Des. That curve.
Take it, Des.
It was
Slammed into the divider there. Wow. Wow, you know what? Driving a top-heavy vehicle here, took it too fast and jumping over. So we're just at the end of the 710 on the exit that goes towards downtown LA, and we have 1 suspect out of the vehicle and running. We're going to follow that suspect because we believe that there might be 2 other people in the car. I don't think I saw them get out of the car, so he just hopped over there down onto Golden Avenue and 4th Street, getting down into this neighborhood. It's one of the, again, they have 2 airships on this one, so one of them can break off and stick with this suspect who's now running here down the street. Let's see where this person goes, if this is somewhere they were meaning to go or what the deal is, but out on foot. I believe this is the driver that is out of the vehicle here running, Jeff.
Yeah, very desperate times for this driver as he's attempting to escape after getting out of this vehicle. And Susie, he lost control in that overpass. As Des mentioned, those SUVs are top heavy. He was going a little too fast and just kind of flipped it around. Two other people, we believe, inside the vehicle. This one outstanding.
That's right. Multiple people, as you're talking about. Mike Rogers was asking or talking about how multiple LAPD units were being added to this chase. You know, oftentimes we only see a certain number of police units behind chases, but when we know that there are multiple people inside a car and also that they are armed, at least one person we know inside this car we do believe was armed, they are going to take every precautionary measure to make sure at the end of the chase, as we're looking at right now, is a safe situation for officers as well as other people who are involved in this, obviously, because of the fact that there are multiple people inside this car.
Another level of danger as he goes into possibly this home here. We're going to show you on the inset box when that car started to lose control. But at the same time, we've got the very serious situation going on with that, we believe, armed driver who escaped and got on foot and then is now at this area here near, I believe it's going to be Golden and Fort Street that he mentioned. And there's a community just off of the freeway. You see on the right-hand part of your screen is when he lost control. But I haven't seen him since he turned around the corner. And we couldn't see him from the vantage point of the helicopter. But that would be a very dangerous situation, Susie, if he, we think, is armed with a gun, could get inside one of those apartments or one of those buildings.
With a gun, you know, like you were saying. And Desmond, can we see from your shot, I know you've been kind of focusing on this apartment building where one of the suspects fled to, but have you been able to see whether the ground units have been able to make any other arrests from that car?
Not yet. We wanted to focus on the driver who came out running here, and I do believe that those other two stayed in the car. Everything happened so quickly. I think they just decided to surrender. We'll have to verify that later, but we wanted to try to stay with this suspect. Last we saw in this area was underneath that awning. It took us a while to get around because LAPD's helicopter may have seen them come through the shot. They are on this one, so I believe they know where the suspect is.
Does that go down below the ground? You see, does that go down? Is that subterranean there, Des? It looks like it is. Do you see that? I wonder, because that's the last time we saw him was right there on the other side of that fence.
Yeah, this is the last time that we saw. We'll continue to move around here and see, but unfortunately, just eluded the lens there for. Yep. Yeah.
You know,
and someone out here wanting, what is the commotion? I think the suspect saw us looking at him, and then that really panicked him and got underneath this awning. And unfortunately, just trying to navigate with the other air traffic up here, he had a couple of seconds to get away. So we will see. Not seeing any ground units yet on this one either. But you see LAPD's helicopter. I think they feel pretty good about him being somewhere right here in this area. So it's just unclear if they went inside one of the. He would have had enough time if he went over that fence and up the staircase. If this is the suspect that has a gun, to potentially force their way in. We're just not sure how this all developed there when he was away from the lens there for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, I wonder, Mike, do you hear any chatter about what has happened so far?
Yeah, so right now the officers are actually having trouble getting to the location because if you remember, he jumped off the side of the overpass there. So he had the benefit of being able to kind of take a direct path. This is actually Long Beach PD. This is not even LAPD. This is Long Beach PD. Those LAPD units, I'm listening to the airship, are still trying to get to this building. They're trying to get off the freeway to get around here to get to him. So, pretty behind the curve, unfortunately, as far as catching up with him. And it was just a convenient spot for those guys to be able to wreck that car. But now you see Long Beach PD showing up in force as well. Like Des mentioned, Sheriff's helicopter, and this is our first LAPD unit. That's from Central Division, now showing up as well. So we'll see. The airship was like, we're gonna keep an eye on this building, and they're gonna try to set up a perimeter. But it didn't. Is that him on the balcony there, Des? Straight in?
Well, there's somebody up there. I thought it was a resident. We saw somebody down below there. He was dressed in all black, and he looked pretty tired when he came around that corner there. What do you think, Susie?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. There's so many people out there right now. It's hard to tell whether these are people involved in the pursuit or perhaps just looky-looing. I don't know if people maybe saw what was happening out there. It looks like that person getting into a car.
Well, they're trying. Are they trying to indicate to police, Des?
It's hard to tell here. We're just dealing with some of these buildings, and all these kind of these people scurrying all over the place here, waving people down, widen out and see if they're talking with. Yeah, so here's police trying to set up their perimeter right now. They are waving in police. It certainly looked like they were waving them in here. So all it takes is one of these suspects to avoid the aircraft for 5 or 10 seconds, and it can just become incredibly difficult to determine where they ended up.
I see a level of concern right there with those groups.
Confident.
I see a level of concern with those people right there. They appear to want police to come down. I wonder if they know where that suspect is. I would guess they do.
That's my guess. Probably, maybe guiding police or hoping to guide police into where they believe the suspect went, but it's unclear right now. I know the ground units are there, and I'm sure they're making a plan right now, setting up the perimeter as they do after pursuit. And it was difficult in this situation because, as Mike Rogers was talking about on the desk, when the pursuit came to an end, everyone fled. 2 people, at least we know, got out of the car, and they jumped over that overpass, and officers, obviously, they don't want to put their officers in danger, obviously, and that's the reason why they took their car around to the other side to get to this location. But as Mike was saying, they did certainly have an advantage getting away from officers.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at that on the right-hand part of your screen. It's going to be what happened earlier. He had been running for quite a bit, maybe 3 or 4 blocks at full speed. It looked like he was pretty winded, and then it did appear, Des, they looked like he hopped the fence right there, and that's where he went out of sight. Yeah,
so really quickly, I'm listening to some radio traffic. Des, they do believe he's on the 2nd story of this building that we were looking at. That's what they're talking about now.
Yeah, that makes sense. It looked like he might have hopped the fence, and that's how he escaped our gaze for a second, which leads to that staircase up to the 2nd level. So, did he force his way into one of these units, or was this where they were trying to go? I mean, lost control there, taking that off ramp. So it would be pretty serendipitous for them to have lost control where he's trying to go. So it's still anybody's guess at this point, but definitely a concern because we had reason to believe that one of the people in the car was armed and dangerous.
Let's bring you up to speed here real quick to all the viewers here. As we hit just about 10 minutes after the hour, we got on just a few minutes before the top of the hour here with this latest pursuit of assault with a deadly weapon suspect, armed robbery tied into a shooting in South LA at St. Julian and Pico. These are obviously very violent offenders. They kind of lost control of their SUV and kind of spun around on one of the overpasses there. 2 of those suspects, we believe there were 3, stayed inside of the vehicle. We assume that they are in custody. And then this one driver hopped out and then ran, and then that's where we are now.
Absolutely. And again, the danger tonight, or the cautionary precautions that officers are taking right now, due to the fact that we know for a fact that at least one of these suspects are armed. So if one of them is armed, you don't know which one, obviously, and they have to take all the precautionary measures and set up a perimeter, make sure the residents are safe. Right now the big concern is obviously this building, who lives inside here, and if one of those suspects, force their way into one of these units and, maybe had a gun and scared one of the residents there and said, I'm going to stay here and, maybe hold them hostage. We don't know at this point.
It could be a hostage situation.
It could be a situation like that, which we have also seen. So obviously they're going to draw their attention and focus on this building here and getting whoever out as safely as possible and getting to that suspect who is possibly armed.
We see that time and time again where they, in desperation, run, try to find an open door, an unlocked door, some way to get in and hide. That certainly looked like that was the situation today, Mike.
Yeah, well, in the airship, just reiterating to the officers on the ground that he's very confident that they have this person in this perimeter. So not maybe necessarily in the building, but they're saying within the perimeter of this location. So they're pretty confident in that. And, just to your point about where people run, when he was coming here, it didn't look like he really was making a beeline for one specific spot. He looked like he was kind of looking around, trying to figure something out, and then he dipped around the back of the building there. But it looks like we see some movement in that doorway.
I think that 2nd door is open. It's ajar. It doesn't look like it.
It looked like someone was there.
So, Des, what do you see? Do you see any activity at all on the 2nd level?
I do see someone. It looks like a pair of legs, but it looks like someone wearing shorts. And I'm pretty sure, if I recall, the suspect was wearing pants.
He was all black, yeah.
Right.
Jeans,
so
all black.
Yeah. So, but now the door is closing. And there was someone on the bottom story that didn't have a shirt on who came out initially, was wondering what all the ruckus was about. Looks like they've gone inside out on that the floor right below. I think that they still have their door open. But yeah, LAPD was just circling this building like a hawk. There they go. There go the skids of their helicopter through our shot again. So they do seem to be very confident that this is where that suspect is. They did get here pretty quickly. I think, looks like that door is propped open as well here near the end of the building. Kind of hard to tell.
I mean, we could have a SWAT situation
doubled
here.
in on this one.
We could have a SWAT situation
yeah,
here, Des. Tell us a little bit about
likely.
what the protocol is that you believe that the police would next take here.
Well, I mean, they're probably not going to want to go door to door. I mean, it sounds like they think he's on the second story, and if that's what they believe, then they may eventually come to some of the bottom floors and try to tell people to get out. But then, you know, again, if they think that this person has a gun, it just makes things very confident, or rather complicated, I should say. They may just tell residents to shelter in place, and you know, if it is going to be a SWAT situation, then this could be an hours-long process. So they would have to have just a very high degree of certainty, you know, before they try going into any of these units. That's for sure.
You know, we were talking about how there was a shooting involved in all of this before. We know little about that shooting, but as Mike Rogers at the desk was telling us, the shooting happened at St. Julian and Pico in South LA with a possible victim down. So if officers have that information, obviously they know that this person or people are capable of harming someone else with that weapon. And of course, the big concern tonight, Mike, being this building and what could happen inside that building.
Right, and I did hear them ask to hold the crime scene at St. Julian and Pico, so they're still with that. I'm also listening to Long Beach PD coordinating this with LAPD, but I want to point out, and Des, I don't know if it's just, you know, incidental where they ended up, but the corner of that building, it looks like now that the sun's starting to go down a little bit to the left, it looks like they've got their floodlights pointed at that top unit. I was looking at some of those police cars, so I don't know if they have, you know, exact reason to believe that they're in that spot or if they're just pointing it at the building in general, but I did notice that there looks like there's some lights up there. Now, you also have to remember, we're now in a different city, so if this does turn into a SWAT situation or a SWAT call-out, which, by the way, the LAPD airship has already offered to give Metro a call, which Metro for the LAPD Metropolitan Division houses their K-9, houses their SWAT teams, all of that. So he's already offered to bring out Metro, so that decision is being made. But Long Beach police have their own SWAT, so you know, they could bring theirs out as well. It just all depends on the, you know, how the different agencies are going to want to play along with each other.
We have 3 scenes. I mean, think about the work that is ahead for all these officers. We have the shooting at St. Julian and Pico, that's in South LA. We have the crash site, which is not too far from what you're looking at here. That's where those 2 suspects, we believe, are in custody. That 3rd suspect got out, and this is where he's holed up here in Long Beach now. So we have 3 different separate, as we take a look here, panning back to where this accident occurred. Des, they're at least letting some traffic through that. It's an overpass. I thought that'd be shut down, but they're at least getting people over, aren't they?
Yeah, and you know, that tells me that they got those other 2 suspects. I mean, the one that they got out, you know, incredibly desperate here. You see, you know, jump down a pretty decent, you know, distance right here. I mean, that's at least 10, you know, 15 feet, I would imagine. So, you know, probably a painful landing for that guy. And they came running all the way down here to where we now have the perimeter set up at this small apartment building. And so here's what Mike was talking about with the floodlights now on this side of the building. So if they believe that he made it over towards the end unit or what the deal is, I mean, you know, the door, it looks like it's getting kind of dark here. Let me see what I can do, but you know, it does look like the screen door may be open here on this unit, second to the last, if that's where they think the suspect is. It's yeah, this is probably going to turn into a long, drawn-out situation, I'm guessing, at this point.
Boy, if that was where he jumped off there, Susie, from that 10 or 12-foot wall, that was just adrenaline, and he might be injured. And I couldn't believe when you take a look at this as he's panning back to the crash site where he jumped off of and then ran for another, looks like 2.5 blocks. That's a pretty good jump.
It is. And I was thinking the same thing, and I thought it was lower than that, but when Desmond gives us that picture, my goodness, it's pretty high, isn't it? I mean, it is an overpass, you know, a ramp going to another location. So, I mean, it's definitely high up there. And obviously, that's why officers didn't want to chase them on foot, because it would have been a very dangerous situation to jump over that fence for officers as well. But just incredible to see this. But right now, as we're talking about this building being the focal point here of this investigation right now, you know, we're meeting all the criteria for an LAPD SWAT situation here. We have an armed, barricaded suspect inside a building. We have possibly a lot of, you know, tenants or residents inside this building as well, you know, causing a dangerous situation, which could be a very dangerous situation for the residents who live here, who may or may not know what's happening around them.
You know, Mike, I want to bring you in on this because I would think if there was something going on, that this guy had maybe somebody at gunpoint, or there was some sort of immediate threat to somebody, police would get in there. But I would assume that they have information, and that's why they're kind of holding back a little bit. Yeah,
I would make that same, you know, guess. I would say that if they had reason to believe that this person was imminently putting somebody in danger, they would make a pretty aggressive move to get in there. I think the fact that they're not means they either just don't know, and they're just kind of, you know, because remember, the officers on the ground saw nothing. You know, these officers got here well after the fact because of the, you know, geography basically of where this guy ran from. So you only have the airship overhead, which, you know, they did a great job of keeping him. And, you know, as Desmond mentioned, they're very lucky they were able to have the benefit of 2 helicopters in this situation, because that's not common. It's not common that there are 2 helicopters over a pursuit. They just, you know, happened to have the resource of a sheriff's helicopter who could stay with the car while LAPD came to the scene.
Yeah, with extra eyes. I mean, that's so crucial. And I think it's an important time to tell, you know, viewers, if you happen to be living inside this building, or if you are in this building or near this building, and you happen to make any observations of the suspect, then please call 911 right away. I'm sure that's what police would advise. But right now, it's unclear what the officers are doing down there right now in terms of what the plan is going to be, whether they evacuate this entire building first, or if they'll have people shelter in place. But certainly a dangerous situation if someone is armed in there.
Yeah, this is in Long Beach, so we have 3 departments involved in this. LAPD with the initial pursuit. The Sheriff's Department got involved as well en route of this, and then Long Beach Police, of course, on the left-hand part of your screen, because this is the jurisdiction where this all ended up. So we've got multiple agencies, we've got a number of different locations, we've got multiple suspects. This is going to be a long night, if not for one department, all 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back upstairs to Desmond Shaw in SkyCal to see if he has anything new for us. Desmond, are you seeing any movement from the officers on the ground there yet?
No, not at all. They're out with weapons drawn, and this is, you know, probably a stance that they're going to be in for some time. You know, if this is going to evolve into a SWAT situation, which it certainly seems like it's going to. LA County Sheriff's Deputy's helicopter has left the scene, so it's now just LAPD's helicopter that is over this, and we'll see how if they're going to be sticking around this one for, well, for the duration. Now here's someone peeking around, and again, this is where we saw someone that didn't have a shirt on come out and was just kind of initially wondering what was going on with their apartment building. But you know, in that time that we didn't see when we last saw the suspect right over here up against the fence, you have to wonder, because, you know, this door was already open, if they went inside that unit right here. It's kind of, you know, we've got at least 4, possibly 8. I think we have 8 apartments here. Look at these doors right next to each other, 4 on the bottom and 4 on top. So, but, you know, LAPD, they're not going to make an approach into this alleyway and be at kind of a strategic disadvantage if they believe that someone has a gun. So this is one of those ones that could turn into a very long night, like you said, Jeff.
So, Des, we are going to keep you in place there. Of course, we have Mike Rogers on the assignment desk, as we'll continue to monitor this situation. Police in pursuit of armed suspects, 2 in custody. 1 ran after crashing their vehicle and ran to this location in Long Beach on 4th and Melrose. We will continue to follow that story and bring you any updates, probably dip in throughout the newscast here at 8, 9, and 10 o'clock on KCAL News as we continue to follow that story. Well, first we'll bring you some other news. New tonight, 8 o'clock, police in Irvine are looking for this man who they say sexually